Hello, everyone. Let me get my camera organized. Sorry, we're a little bit late today starting. I'm waiting on my associate Jordan, who is my backup host for today, because unfortunately Heather is not available to join us today. So I'm just getting her all set up and organized. Bear with me just a second and we'll get started. Um, Pretty sure I muted myself. Yeah, I can go. So I do have my chat open. So if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. And again, sorry for the slowness here. We'll get you up and running right away here, or I'll get myself up and running right away here and get Jordan in as well. Sorry, technical difficulties always happen at the most inopportune times, don't they? You can barely hear me? Okay, that's interesting. Is anybody else having that problem with being unable to hear me? Hey, there's a Jordan.
I made it.
I'm glad you did.
Thank you. I was like, you cannot come in because you are the host. And I was like, that feels counterintuitive.
Okay. Well, it's appreciate everybody waiting. Again, like I said,
Yeah, sorry.
I have the amazing Jordan here with us. We had to do a last minute change of the host. Like I say, our normal host, Heather, had to take a call at the last minute. So fortunately, the amazing Miss Fish here had no problem jumping in and helping us out.
Hi,
Uh,
everybody. Please excuse my hair. I haven't looked in the mirror, apparently.
yeah, I don't know what to do with mine either. It's horrible. All right, so we'll get you going. You look great,
Thank
Jordan. Don't
you.
worry.
Thanks,
So
Glenn.
we'll get going. So as always, I am Glenn. I am one of your Resolution Tier 2 and onboarding team members. I'm here to help with some of the more difficult issues, plus getting people up and running in their software. Plus, I'm one of the people that does the webinars. And then Jordan, I'll let you introduce yourself as your awesome self.
Yeah, I'm Jordan. I'm one of the onboarding specialists here. I was trained and have Glenn is my sensei, and I'm just really excited to be here. And I just got off a onboarding call, so I feel all warmed up talking about the system.
Awesome. And I'm glad to see Kimberly was the Zoom audio. That's the thing with computers. It's always if it ain't one thing, it's another. And anybody who has ever worked with me and Jordan has probably heard me say this numerous times. I call computers the smartest, stupid things humans have ever created. And I stand by that. So we will get going. As you can see, we do engage with the chat, and I'm glad to hear that everybody is able to hear us now. And we do record the webinar, and I do post them on our YouTube channel at the end of the day. I haven't posted the last two because they were rushed and not a proper webinar. So I didn't, I mean, I probably could post them just to say, here's a funny attempt at a webinar, but let's try not to do that. We'll stick with the good ones. So let us know. We do also support you. We don't just get you to buy our program and then leave you in the lurch. We do have a support team. As of this time, I am happy to say they are 100% homegrown humans. We have no robots wearing human suits yet. We all know that AI is starting to become smarter, and I still am not a big fan of smarter computers because I like my autonomy. But we do still have regular humans doing everything. So you can get to that going to the bottom right-hand corner of any Top Producer product or even at our support.topproducer.com website. 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time, we are there to help you. Again, real humans. We do also have, for folks who don't need a instant answer, support at topproducer.com. Our team will answer your emails. I do recommend using that for the less time sensitive issues. Reach out and they will be able to assist you. And as Jordan just said, she just got off a onboarding call. We do those as well. We've got a team of 4 of us. Myself, you might unfortunately get me. or you might be lucky enough to get Jordan or Heather or Evan. We've got a really great team. I'm very happy with the work they do. I'm the old man of the team, so when they need an adult, they come looking to me, and I'm still looking for an adultier adult so that I have someone to go to. It's just not fair. But with that, let's say we get into it. So anything you want to bring to this, Jordan?
Yeah, I think the main thing too is definitely you can ask questions along the way too. We'll start in settings and kind of just build from there, but we're also here to help you and your individual sort of circumstance as well. So as we get going here, if you're like, hey, do you mind repeating that? Or hey, I had a question about the A, B, or C, let us know in the chat and we'll pause to just sort of check in and make sure we have you covered. But the main thing, of course, is it all starts with going to crm.topproducer.com, and then you'll see the settings page like so. And I think we can kind of just dive into it and sort of highlight the key factors to setting you up for success here.
Awesome. So since I like to put Jordan on the spot, especially by
Oh,
pulling an
favorite.
invite, you get to be the puppet master.
Oh, fabulous. I get
So
to be in control.
yes, I will go over to seat two top producer and you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, so to get to settings, there's two ways to go about it. One, of course, there's the settings icon on the bottom left where the gear icon is. If you don't see that, it just might mean you're a little bit zoomed in. All good. You can then get to settings by clicking on your photo, or there might be just like a blank sort of like white person icon where you can click on it, drop down menu, and click on settings. So settings are really important. All the features really rely on your settings being set up so that it works for your individual business. Let's start with my information. So the my information page here, which I love, of course, the agent headshot and company logo you have going on there. We're very keen on dogs and pets. But the main thing is for you folks, this page is relevant for two reasons. One is if you have market snapshot. So some folks might have it if we're compatible with your MLS, some folks might not have it. But the main thing is for market snapshot, this is so that way the system knows what to plaster for your branding on a market snapshot. So your headshot, company logo, any contact information, just make sure, of course, it's information you're okay with your recipients of market snapshot seeing, so don't put your private information in here. So that's the first reason this page is relevant. The second reason is for something called merge code. So when you're setting up an email template, you could have it auto-populate your name or your company name, and it'll pull that information from this page here. Yeah, so it's good for that, as well as if you have social media links, you can that way you can have an icon on your market snapshot. So for that first reason, you could put it here. I always like to highlight though for this section, if you need to put in these links, make sure you're putting in like the actual URL when you're on that home page. So it's particularly for like, yeah, Facebook, but also especially for Instagram. I see a lot of folks doing like the @ and then their handle name. That won't work. It needs a link to connect it to that icon, so that way it works. So a little tidbit for that there. And then on this bottom section, I like to always highlight that for the disclaimer here, you could put in whatever you sort of wish. You can also check in with us. We do kind of have like a template we can pop in there. I'm sure this system has been kind of used and abused by Glenn quite a bit. Usually there's like a default that's there, but you can change it if you wish. But the main thing is it's extra protection for you, especially since Market Snapshot relies on that MLS connection. So if square footage is off or any other details that's getting pulled and plopped in from the MLS is incorrect, this disclaimer protects you. And then the last two sections I'll highlight below is, of course, branding and location. So branding, that again for Market Snapshot, it's for the banner on the top and bottom of your Market Snapshot. So whatever color is cohesive with your branding. You can change it, of course, down the line if your branding changes. And then the location is the time zone. So that's relevant for your calendar sync. So that way your calendar is on the right time zone. So two main things is really for if you have a market snapshot, this page is relevant for your branding. For if you're creating email templates and you're using those merge codes, this is also very helpful. Anything I forgot or anything you want to highlight, Glenn?
No, you always rise to the occasion when I throw you to the sharks like that.
I appreciate. I mean, you trained me well. You are the sensei of the group, so.
No, I just have good students. But much like our users, whenever we help you, a lot of you really impress us with the stuff you know already and also with the questions you ask us. So that's why we enjoy these. You guys are the main reason. Sorry, you, ladies and gentlemen, are the reason that we do this. I have to be politically correct and not just say guys,
Oh,
even though,
okay.
I'm trying to be a good human for once.
Very nice. Appreciate
Jordan
it.
knows that's unusual. But you all have great questions and you push us to be better. So I want to say thank you to that.
Yeah,
So we do appreciate you and we appreciate that you come to see us.
cool.
So once you've done that, you just
Yeah.
save.
Perfect. And the great thing
What
is
would
you only really need to do it up once. I know settings can be a bit daunting. There's a lot in here, but you really just put it in for your individual business and then you don't have to think about it again. Okay, cool. The next thing I always like to do once this tab is done is I like to go do email integration. It's a big piece of the pie, so that way you're able to use your existing email address you use for business, integrate it with your top producer, so that way you're still able to use that email address, but send emails through your CRM. And so the benefit is a couple of things. So one is though that way you have everything in one place. You're not going in between your CRM tab and your email tab. And the other benefit two is we're able to apply a read receipt when you're emailing through the CRM here. So you can actually check to see if people are actually opening up your emails. And the other thing I like to highlight too is that then you can do drip campaigns that include emails to auto send out. So that way you're able to tap into some automation. So if any of that sounds appealing to you, we always really emphasize to do your email integration so that way you get the most out of the system. So if you are doing that, you just put in your email address in that field that's next to authorize email, then you click authorize. Each email provider would have their own sort of steps to authorize the connection. So it might ask for your password, it might already remember your password in your browser. If you're doing it with Gmail, I always recommend clicking on select all. It'll have you have a page where it's select all so that you're able to read your emails, compose emails, have all the functionality of Gmail, but in your CRM, and then you just click continue. And then it'll pop up below, and it might default with saying the running status, or might not say running status right away. It might say re-authenticate your email. Main thing is just don't panic within the first 24 hours if you do get an error message. There, it needs about 24 hours to populate throughout all the servers. So let it marinate, let it rest and do its thing for the first 24 hours. And just even if it has a red lettered sort of pop-up, ignore it, just so that it has time to populate out and have time to do that connection. If after 24 hours you're still getting that pop-up, give us a shout so then we can investigate. So the fastest way to get support is with the live chat on the bottom right there. And that way they can have someone sort of help to investigate to see what's going on. Oh, the other thing too, yeah. The other thing too is you can integrate more than one email address. So that way when you're composing an email in your CRM, you can toggle and choose which email address you want to send from. So that's also a really popular feature. Anything you want to add to that, Glenn?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that you covered it perfectly. The only thing I have is a technical issue. So recently we upgraded
Mm-hmm.
something called Nihilus, which is in the background. It is something that helps allow for this connection to happen. And if you have had top producers email integration synchronized beforehand, you may see whenever you log in, it may see needs reauthorization and it'll ask you to come to settings. All you have to do is come here. You'll click on the delete. It'll delete that connection and then you re-authenticate it. This new upgrade is supposed to help avoid those disruptions like Jordan was saying, where it could take up to 24 hours. It's also got a much better throughput. There are some specific email providers such as Yahoo, and if you do go through iCloud for your email, they are going to require something known as an app password. So if you are running into troubles with the app passwords, feel free to reach out to us. But most of them do have an area in their security where you can create the app password. So just a little thing, if you've all of a sudden just had it set up and all of a sudden see that along the bottom, that's all that's happening and you just need to remove and replace.
Yeah, good, really good. Yeah, because that's pretty recent. So yeah, good catch there. There are usually when doing email integration as well, there's two things I like to sort of review before we move over to email signature. So I had mentioned, the benefits of having email integration is, and I had one of those benefits including doing drip campaigns. It's also good to kind of be aware of making sure we're not spamming people. So the main thing I like to sort of have on people's radars is number one, you can send group emails as well to your CRM with whatever email you have successfully integrated. But just know that for group emails, there is a 100 contact cap. So you can have a max of 100 contacts included in a group email. You can send multiple 100 contact emails, just make sure you have that cap. The reason for the cap is it helps to reduce the chance of your email landing in the spam folder of the recipient. And the second thing to be mindful of, it's not so much a top producer thing as it is an email provider thing, is that each email provider has their own limits of how many emails you can use or send using their service within a 24-hour period. So just be mindful of whatever that cap is, so that way you don't surpass it and you get flagged for potentially spamming folks. So there's two things to have on your radar to make sure you're still getting the most out of the system.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, that's perfect advice. And one thing, we do hear that you do like to send to more than 100 people at a time. So there is this fancy little button in the bottom right or left. Wow, I forgot my left and right. Down on the left, it says feedback. If you click on that, it does take you to something we call Pendo, which is a place that you can tabulate requests from your clients. Go ahead and put it in there, and the more people that ask, our team may look into getting that raised. The number was put in for two reasons. One, to try to help alleviate the whole spamming thing, because unfortunately, and I've been here with Top Producer for a long time, we used to have a 1,000 limit on our Top Producer 8i. And some people were not sticking to 1,000, and one person sent over 142,000 emails in 1 month.
Ooh.
Yeah, that unfortunately gets a email server blacklisted. So a lot of the email providers out there that you can use, such as like a MailChimp or a BombBomb, they have special permissions to do that stuff. We, by going through the email providers, we have to follow their rules. So they did ask us to limit it to 100 at a time up to their maximum. Now, if after we've had it there for a while, if more people are asking, we can go back to the email providers and see if we can get an increase. But for now, we do have to do it that way. And as Jordan said, it's the best way to do it, having the 100 and then the other groups of 100. Do check with your email provider to see what your daily limit is, though. They will be very nice, and just the first time they'll say, hey, you went over your limit, and they usually tell you. But I always think prevention is the best medicine. Being knowing ahead of time, you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, cool. Well, now we sort of review sort of email integration. The next step you do once you're done with email integration is manually putting in your signature one time here. So that way, when you're sending emails through Top Producer, the system knows what to, automatically stamp at the bottom of each of your emails. So your name, phone number, company name, what have you, whatever you wish. And you can also include a hyperlink. So if you have a website you want to plug in there, you can put a hyperlink so that way it's clickable. Or if you want to put in your headshot or your company logo, there is also on the bottom right insert image icon. So that way you can take a minute, set up the way you like, and the system will be able to stamp it automatically on each of the emails sent through here.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, great. So the next thing I like to highlight is import contacts and contact sync, because this is a database. This is meant to host your clientele, host your network here. So there's a couple ways to go about this. And the most popular way to bring in a bulk amount of contacts into your system is via import contacts. If you want to click on that guy for me. So basically, it needs to be in a CSV file format, so that way it's compatible. And then once it's in a CSV format and it's the way you like it, I always like to encourage folks to have your database cleaned up before importing it, just because then you're kind of moving a mess from point A to point B. So make sure your columns are clean. I always recommend having, for the first name and last name, have one column for the first name and another column for the last name. What I would avoid doing is having the first name and last names in one column, because then the system can't differentiate between what's a first name and what's a last name. And have that all ready to go. And then you can choose file to import, and it'll prompt you to do something called mapping. So mapping is a great way for you to vet that the information is going to be brought over correctly before actually inserting the information into your CRM. So it's kind of like, okay, this column means first name in your CSV. Do you want it to mean first name in your CRM? You're like, yeah, first name. And then you can go through. If there's any columns you don't want brought over, maybe you're like, you know what, this is feeling like, irrelevant information, just don't map it, and then the information will not be brought over. Another thing I like to highlight for making sure all the information gets brought over correctly talking too much. Is if you're using tags or contact types, I use tags and contact types interchangeably. So how you categorize your clientele, so investors, buyers, sellers, book club, however you want to go about it. If you have a column designated to that, so let's call them contact types. If one person falls under multiple tags, so they're an investor, they're a seller, and they went to the book club, separate them with a column, or sorry, with a comma. Sorry, with a
English
comma.
hard today, eh?
Yeah.
Normally it's me tripping over my words. Thank
I
you.
know you're being a bad influence. Getting tongue-tied. Main thing is just separate them with a comma. So investor, comma, buyer, comma, book club. And that will be in the column of contact type. So that way when they get put into the system will be like, okay, these are 3 separate contact types that's assigned to this individual. So that can be really helpful to keep things organized in your CRM. So yeah, CSV, import it in, do some mapping. There are 2 things on the top above mapping that you can do. So it'd be contact status and contact type. So contact status is a status that'll be applied to everybody that you're importing in. So typically for a big group of people, it's future. So people you're going to be working with again in the future typically, but you can choose if they're all active and ready to hit the ground running, choose active. So if you want a status to apply to everybody. And then the second section I had mentioned is contact type. So what I mentioned a moment ago is a contact type on an individual basis. For the contact type I'm talking about now, underneath that contact status, this is a contact type you want applied to everybody. What people like to do to have that option is they can do, the source of like, these are all Zillow and then the date of the import, or just import in today's date. So that way down the line, you can see when they came into your system because they have that contact type applied to everybody. That was a mouthful. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, that was, I kind of sit back and enjoy letting you do it because you did explain that perfectly again. Great student. One thing I always like to say is keep in mind a data import is, in the best terms I can say, a brute force push. So one of the great things about putting that contact type on and having it a date for when you imported it, if you import one file today and then 4 days down the road you import another file, and all of a sudden you find that you've got the same person in there twice, you'll be able to see which day they came in, so you can see which one is the most recent and keep that one. The reason for that is with a computer system, like I say, we don't want them too smart. They assume, and again, I don't like that word and we all know what it means, but the computer assumes that if you're doing the import, everything in there is the data you want in the system, so it just pushes it in. With that in mind, we do have another way to bring data in, and I'm going to give Jordan a little bit of a breather here because she's done most of the talking. Be nice to her. But the second way is to do a contact sync. So this is always the second way to go after you do an import. The reason for this is because this one actually does have a duplicate checker. The reason for this is it is connecting to your email provider, such as Gmail or Outlook or Office 365. The reason the import or the duplicate checker is attached to this one is because a lot of people will already have their data into their CRM and may just be adding in an email account with their contacts later just to merge everything and get it all together. So this way it does do the duplicate check. And if it finds the same name, email address, and phone number, it automatically connects those two and creates a synchronization. So they'll both be updated. The real reason why I recommend doing this is because there are 2 types of people in this world: those who have a backup and those who really wish they did. By doing this, you have a backup both in your CRM and also in your email. The worst and hardest computer thing I have ever done in all my years doing this is data restoration. You're either going to look like a genius or have people completely deflated and lose important memories and stuff. So I recommend doing the import, getting all that set up. As Jordan said, having a clean database first, then connecting your contact sync just so you never lose any of your data. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's the best way to look at it. So being prepared and knowing that you have that backup will save headaches, heartache, and tears in the future.
We like to avoid tears whenever we can. So yeah, that sounds great. Cool.
All right.
All right, so let's move on sort of to these other tabs at the top. They're a little bit more short and sweet. We can kind of give you a breather from doing a bit of a info dump. So yeah, we can do notifications. So, and you already have them set up, fabulous. So notifications, of course, are notifications to you as the owner of the CRM. So lead alerts is if you have your CRM connected to a lead provider that we're compatible with. So if you use our lead provider like Social Connect, or we put ads on Facebook and Instagram for you, you get notified when someone new from Social Connect landed in your CRM. But you can also connect your CRM to external third-party lead providers. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about that, about how to do that. But the main thing is you can connect them when they're compatible. So Zillow, Realtor.com, what have you. And when that connection is complete, you can say, hey, I want a text message and or email alert when a new person lands in my CRM. So people typically I encourage folks to do that. They typically really want to be kept in the loop. Anything to add for that before I move on to task reminders?
Nope, it's perfect.
And then let's click on task reminders. So similar idea, but the main thing is you can set up tasks for yourself in your CRM. So to have an appointment with somebody, a to-do, to call somebody. And when you're setting up the tasks, like the couples that I just mentioned, you can say, hey, I'm setting up a call with Cindy. Send me a text message 5 minutes before this call to remind me. And the system be like, okay, they want a notification for that reminder sent to this phone number. So this is we help you kind of keep on track and send you little reminders when you're setting up those tasks.
Perfect.
Anything to add for that?
Nope, that's perfect.
All right, I told you they're a little bit more short and sweet now. Though we kind of covered the behemoths, we'll give you a little bit of a breather with these sort of more short and sweet ones. So let's move on to calendar sync. So calendar sync is also like an email-based feature. So the main thing is if you have a calendar that's, I believe it's the same as contact sync. So like Gmail, Outlook, Office 365, you'd put in that email address and then it would sync to your top producer calendar. So appointments would show up between those two calendars. So when an appointment shows up on one calendar, it automatically shows up on the other to help keep you organized and up to date. Cool. Anything to add for that?
Well, the same goes if you did have your calendar set up beforehand, before our upgrade to the Nihilus. You will notice that when we came over here, mine gave a quick little hiccup down in the bottom. That was because I honestly haven't removed and reset this one up. So I probably need to do that, but right now it is running, but that could be a false positive. So if you do see a little, and it's a pink notification, so it's obviously going to grab your eye on this very colorful background we have here. Just go in here to your calendar sync. Worst case scenario, you just hit the delete, it disconnects, and you reconnect it. It's usually no more than a 5-10 minute reconnect. So that'll take you no time at all and get you set up and running. But it does allow you to have, again, that backup of your information on 2 different calendars.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, if that sounds good, we can, as they say, circle back to about connecting. Sorry, I know that was a bit cringy. Yeah, lead providers, about how to connect your CRM to a lead provider. So again, if you have Social Connect, you don't have to worry about that because it's already built into your CRM. It's our own product. But if you wanted to connect it to an external one, Zillow, Realtor.com, etc., yeah, that's the key for the connection. So basically, you would copy that @myleads.io email address and paste it into the lead forwarding settings of that account with Zillow, Realtor.com, and so forth. So that way, you're telling that third-party lead provider, like, hey, whenever I get a new lead, forward it automatically to this email address, this myleads.io. And that email address leads to the location of your CRM. So that way it gets plopped into your CRM. Flopped is a word I have not used in a long time. But I hope that makes sense. So that can really help streamline your business, and that way you kind of have your CRM growing automatically. And again, it will show here as well as in notifications whether you have those lead alert settings. Oh no, you have an emergency. Oh no, Kimberly. I believe this will be on the YouTube later, right, Glenn?
Yes, it will be on YouTube. Hopefully that everything is okay. Just take care
Yeah.
and we will have this uploaded.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be on today. No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, thanks for joining. Good luck
Yep.
with
Take care.
what's going on. Okay. But yeah, so that's lead providers. If you're not sure if the lead provider is compatible, we do have a lead providers we support link at the top, but honestly, I think the list continues to grow. So my advice is just try it. Paste it in there, see if it works. And that's the best way to know for sure. All
For
right,
sure.
anything I missed there?
No, I'm chuckling at your use of buzzwords, and then I love how you just said plopped.
I know,
That
it's Wednesday.
that
It's
that's gonna be stuck in my head now. When I'm explaining this, I'm gonna tell people, yeah, if you'd like to have your leads plopped right into the
Yeah, I don't
CRM.
know. Make sure, hopefully, I know that as we sort of mentioned, Glenn and I have mentioned before, like these can be a little dry, so using some extra words when you pop that address. Uh,
Awesome.
I think you're my favorite.
Awesome. So I'll take this one,
Yeah,
Jordan, because you're probably chuckling too much now.
yeah.
Charlene, what you do is you would go into your lead provider. So because I know it off by the back of my hand, realtor.com, you
Ooh.
go into your agent dashboard, you go up to settings, and then there'll be a spot that says leads. You go there, and then on each lead source you have with them, let's say, uh, well, I don't remember the names of them all, but they'll have the different lead types you have with them, and it will show the email address that it's going to. You just click on edit or add, and then you can plop that address in, and that'll be another place that the leads go to. This way you could have it go to two places. I see your little smirk there, Jordan. We both work remotely, so I have to have her camera up on the screen so I can still see when she smirks, and she sees when I smirk too.
Great, got it. Oh yeah, I'm glad we helped there.
Awesome. I like it when I'm useful.
And it feels nice, right? I feel like we're doing something somewhat meaningful.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, feel free to ask any other questions if they pop up as we move forward.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else to add for lead providers before we change topics here?
No?
All right, let's move on to market snapshot. So market snapshot, as I mentioned sort of briefly a moment ago, you do need to have an MLS connection for this feature here. So see if you have it. Best thing, go to settings, market snapshot. If you're seeing this control panel, it means you're good to go. If you're not seeing this control panel, request demo, you can inquiry to us to see if we can maybe check it out for you. But a likely scenario is we might not have an agreement with that MLS. But always sort of just double check. Live chat again is the fastest just to make sure we have you covered in case you have any questions. The great thing about Market Snapshot is it's a great way to lean into automation to keep in front of your clientele and keep pretty pictures of properties in front of them. So maybe it might be helpful that before diving into this control panel, do you want to scroll down and click on View Sample for me, please, Glenn, just so you can kind of see what the end product is, and the tabs might
Absolutely.
make more sense. So this is an example. Oh my gosh. The pictures, the headshot and the logo is from the My Information page. You can see they're here on the top left and in the center there. And then of course the contact information he had put in is on the top left. And it says hi, and then there's a space and a comma. So it actually would say autofill the recipient's first name if you have it on the contact record, which people typically do. So hi and then first name. But this is what an example of what it looks like. You have the map, then you have the analytics. The analytics get pulled from your MLS based on the criteria you put into that first form. So if you're manually sending a market snapshot, you put in, what zip code they're looking at. Maybe they're looking to sell, so it would be the address of the home, price range if it is for just a buyer. Basically put in the criteria, and then it pulls from the MLS to generate these numbers. And then as well, it generates these beautiful pictures of properties. Couple things that give you some feedback of the recipient's activity with the market snapshot is you'll get an email notification when the recipient opens up a market snapshot, because that can be a good indicator of, hey, maybe give them a call or another email since they're actively looking at properties. Yeah, and you can see here on the market snapshot notification, it says send me a weekly summary, as well as tell me when a lead likes a property and when a lead opens a market snapshot. So when they open it, as well as they can heart a property. Yeah, yeah. So you want all those checked on, sorry. And then to sort of see, do you want to go back to the market snapshot? We can kind of just showcase what it kind of looks like on the recipient end to heart a property if you still have, yeah. So click on a picture. This is a demo. So if it was a real market snapshot, it would have like the property photos there, but since it's just static, but yeah, they can click the heart there. They can also email you through the market snapshot to make you even more accessible so they don't have to click back and forth. And then you receive whatever their inquiry is. So Market Snapshot is really great for getting feedback of their activity. Not everybody opens up email, so having photos in front of folks can make it a lot easier to facilitate those kind of conversations, as well as there's this automation element. So when you have one Market Snapshot sent to someone, the system really kicks into gear for automation. So once they receive one Market Snapshot from you, then the system really just takes over. It's a real set it and forget it kind of feature. So the system will automatically send an updated market snapshot with the criteria in mind every 2 weeks. That's the default frequency. You can change that frequency for an individual. So if they want it weekly or every couple of months, but depending on kind of where they're at in their real estate journey, you can do so. But really you can just, yeah, set it and forget it. And that way they're being nurtured because again, it has your branding, as well as you can set up something called listing alerts. If we want to go to the listing alerts, back to that control panel. Here, there we go. So listing alerts is right here. So a summary once a day. Which alerts do you want to send with your market snapshots? Just listed, price change, just sold. So this once a day is good so that way the recipient doesn't have to wait the full 2 weeks to be kept in the loop. Once a day, they'll get an update of summary, what's going on, but only if one, two, or all three of these things happen. So that way they're not being bombarded with like the same information daily. It's only if there's new information to share will they get that listing alert. Cool. Any questions about that? Okay. Okay, cool. Anything you want to add? I'm going to add on the auto fulfillment in a minute, but anything else so far before I kind of add more about Market Snapshot? Okay, cool.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yay. So the auto fulfillment setting. So this is particularly popular for folks using Social Connect. I think it might work with other providers. The main thing is if you're using other providers, it needs to also include the zip code when a new lead comes in, because it needs like a bare minimum of zip code. So it can be hit or miss if you're using a lead provider that isn't our own. Again, test it to see, and that way you can see if when they come in, do they automatically get a market snapshot? Yes or no? Because when you turn this on, you're giving top producer permission to automatically respond to your leads with a personalized market snapshot, and it's personalized based on the zip code. So Social Connect, it definitely works. Other lead providers, it can be hit or miss, but just again, put in that .io email address and have this on and see if they get a market snapshot, just to sort of get confirmation. Anything added for that? Because I know it can be a bit confusing sometimes.
No, that's perfect. The only things that we require to be able to send a snapshot is a name, an email address, and a zip code. If your source has that information, we can find it. We'll create a snapshot and send it off. And then you've already got some communication to your client and you're showing them valuable information. It's a great way to take somebody from an inquiry to a lead to a client. And that's the way I look at the journey is people come in as an inquiry. Even if it says lead, they're still inquiring about either a property or your services. Once you start talking to them, that's when they become a lead. And then once you sign with them, they're a client. So I obviously don't like the term lead anymore because it has gotten so diluted over the years. That's why I prefer calling people an inquiry. They're inquiring about how your expertise is going to make their home buying or home selling journey more successful and less stressful. And we all need less stress in our lives, don't we? No, I do. I used to have a full head of hair.
You look great, Glenn. You look great.
Thank you for that validation. That warms my heart, Jordan. Thank you.
Okay, cool. And the main thing too is if you do turn on this feature, just make sure to click Save Market Snapshot Settings on the bottom right, so that way it's updated. The top half of this control panel, I recommend folks leave it all on. So this auto send market snapshot at the top, I've had a few folks during onboarding be like, well, it automatically just send everybody in my database right away a market snapshot. The short answer is no, you don't have to worry about that. You do have to have that first initial market snapshot set up, either if they're coming in from a lead provider and it's compatible, or if you're manually setting them up one time, if they didn't come in from a lead provider, that's compatible. So this auto send just means, okay, once they receive one market snapshot, they will automatically get more moving forward. So that's what auto send means in this scenario. And then for buyers and sellers, this helps with those 4 analytics we saw on the top right in the sample. So having these different statuses help to have accurate analytics on the top right. People can, if you want, do you still have the sample open, Glenn?
No, but I could get it back if you need it.
Well, I was just gonna highlight that you can like toggle off the statuses. Like if someone doesn't want to see, like if they don't want to see the solds, like it says 63 with the red button, they can click it off. So that way the recipient does have control of what statuses they do and do not want to see. We find folks prefer to have that option just so they get like an accurate overview of what's going on in their market of interest.
Yeah, and the technical side of that also is if you turn off solds, these 4 boxes up here, the averages are going to show up as 0. So people are not going to like the fact that there's been 0 homes for sale or 0 average sold price. It kind of defeats the purpose of trying to say this. Now, if I know some people will have asked me, they're in a non-disclosure state. So what the non-disclosure usually means is you cannot disclose the actual final sales price. You can put up the initial price. So unfortunately, these averages are going to not be 100% in those states, but it will give somebody a number that they can actually look at and see. So that's something to keep in mind if you're in, right off the top of the bat, the great state of Texas. And I have to call it great state because my in-laws are from there. But I also like the state, so any Texans, please don't come after me. But it does have that limitation. So we do have to do that in there. And it's also to protect you guys because the fact that if you give out incorrect information like that, it looks bad for you. So we do have that limitation there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's all I had to say for market snapshot. Anything else you want to go over?
Well, the next most important thing to do to be able to do that snapshot is to
Yeah.
have your MLS credentials set up.
Yeah, good segue.
Yeah, I sometimes know how to segue. But with this, you're going to come here and you'll notice I have a board already. You can have multiples. So you just come in and you add the MLS credentials. I'm going to highly recommend that you type it. I'm going to just think of the first one that came to mind, which is CRMLS. If you don't type it out or start typing it,
Yeah.
notice how I'm scrolling and that little thing is hardly moving. There are thousands of emails, MLSs in here. So instead of scrolling through until your finger hurts, just start typing the first little bit. You'll notice I can put in anything and it'll try to find the best and closest match.
Mhm.
So what do you think? Got anything to go with that, Jordan?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think for toggling between, so as you mentioned, you can have multiple MLSs connected. I've had a couple folks if they'll have multiple there, and they go to manually set up a market snapshot, they're not able to toggle between. Give us a shout if that's the circumstance. By a shout, I mean, of course, live chat is the fastest way, as I've mentioned prior, but we might have to do something in the back end to make sure you have that toggling option. Because like the first MLS that's listed on here will be like the default. This is like the first go-to MLS that'll be listed. So any others listed below, those are sort of like alternates. So you can have access to it, but if you're having any issues, we might have to sort of kick something in the rear in the back end so that you can actually have access to it.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I'm gonna throw the technical side here.
Mm.
So one of the reasons is when your market snapshot is set up, your sales rep may only put in the main MLS you have. So that could be why it's not showing there. Make sure if you are ordering Market Snapshot, tell them, hey, I have this MLS and this one. So they put them all in, because some of them actually also need paperwork filled out. So if we don't know at the time, Jordan, myself, Evan, or Heather on our team, we're going to set you up, and you mentioned the other MLS. We then have to go through and make sure everything's set. And sometimes it delays the final setup because of the fact that we have to get that paperwork to you. You have to fill it out. It has to come back to us. Then we have to talk to your MLS and go like that.
Mm. Yeah. So
Cool.
main thing is put it in. If you have any issues, go to live chat and we will definitely investigate for you just to make sure you're good to go.
Perfect.
All right, if that all sounds good, we can move on to team management. The next few are pretty quick too. So if you do have, oh, you have so many people you can add. Glenn, you have so many licenses. So yeah, if you need to add an agent, an assistant, an admin, you can click on add agent. This is where you put in like their information, first name, last name, what have you. But the main thing is creating their username and password. You have to create it as sort of the ringleader, as the owner of the account, as well as you would set up the permissions at the bottom. So if you turn on access data, contacts, transactions, then they have access to your entire database. If you don't want that, you leave it off, and then they would only have access to the contacts that you've assigned to them. So you do have, it's an either or setup. That's sort of the main thing that a lot of folks want to make sure they're after they set up the username and password, as well as of course the agent details, but permissions are going to be really important to make sure you're on track with that.
Perfect.
Yay.
And again, if you have any questions, let us know.
Mm.
The next one that's pretty quick and easy is texting.
Mhm.
You won't see this. I've just recently tried to register mine to do testing, but
Mm.
yep, I like to register it. They finally got it to us here in Canada, so we're doing that. You just have to put the information in to get it registered. Keep in mind, the reason we're doing this registration is, again, to protect you. Texting has become a new area of spam and fraud, and by registering the number that we give you, it does connect to the proper authorities and your carrier to say that you're not one of those people that's doing fraud or spamming. That way you don't ever get blocked, and the number we give you doesn't get blacklisted. Now, yes, I am saying we do give you a number. We don't connect directly to your cell number. That's kind of illegal. So we give you your own, and this number is yours for as long as you have the software. It is just for texting. You don't call out from it. You don't have a location to dial. Now, when I say that though, if the customer you are texting calls that number by mistake, it is auto set to forward to your cell phone. So you'll never miss a call. It's a great way to do it, and it's a great way to have your text messages right on a contact record.
Yeah, there is, just to have on your radar too, there is a notable wait time to be assigned that number since the new laws went in place last year. So I have seen at minimum a 6-week wait, but it could be longer. It's not a top producer thing, it's a carrier thing to abide by those laws. But I just want to make sure that's like very transparent. We really want to make sure you kind of have all the details available to you to sort of make that decision. You can always register for it, and that way you're just in the queue, and then you can make the decision after the fact of whether or not you actually want to utilize it.
Yeah, perfect way to explain it.
Yay.
Uh,
Great. UI
mhm.
settings. This one is very, very short and sweet. So we have our contact types there, or also means tags or categories. If you want to color coordinate them, if you want Active to be a more fluorescent, or maybe not fluorescent, it kind of blurs the text, but maybe a more bright color, more visible. You can have it like fire engine red or something. This is where you can put that personal touch. As well as you can also customize the color if you want to make it a little bit more personal. This list here is all the contact types that come with the system. So if you had created your own, you just click on add new color, put in the contact type, and then click save color.
Yes, Charlene asked, I previously set up texting, but I've changed my provider. Do I need to update this again? Quick question. Did you keep the same number, or is it a new number? Because if you didn't, okay, then you should be fine. That it's still the number that we have in place. It's still connected. And as long as it's just a provider change, the only way I could say anything would happen is if all of a sudden the new provider said, we don't like this, or they went and did stuff in the background. You should be fine though.
Yeah, good question
That was a very good question. Yeah.
though. All
And good
right.
time on the question too.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can move on. Unless there's anything for you to add, we can move on to Zillow Connect.
No, I will say, don't use the really bright colors because again, we have this really colorful background. Let me see if I have any, like this red here kind of hurts the eyes when I look at it. So
That's to me orange. You think that's red?
that was actually a red that I used for that. How are you getting orange
Really?
for that?
Maybe I'm colorblind. But yeah, good point.
Are we gonna have like, is it a gold or a blue dress discussion right now,
Yeah,
Heather?
I don't know.
And I just called you Heather. Wow.
It's
Because that's the
coming up
type
to
of
our
conversation.
lunchtime, so it's fair.
That's the type of conversations her and I usually have. So I'm sorry.
No,
This is Jordan.
you're
Hi,
good.
Heather.
Okay. Well, then here I think with the we'll have that debate later about colors. We can move on to Zillow Connect. This is if you have a Zillow Premier Agent account. And then that way you can set up the Zillow integration. The benefit being that way your contacts in that Zillow Premier Agent account get integrated automatically into your CRM.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, we covered all of the settings. All
You
right, great.
did?
Yeah.
You covered, well, we can go back to the follow-up. You covered contact types, tabs, and customization.
Mhm.
We can do cool features real quick. You did Smart Snapshot. Wow. I swear
Yeah.
English is my first language. Some days it just doesn't work with
This
me.
is what happens when your job is about just talking a lot. You gotta.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to really quickly mention something on the contacts. So we do have this ability to edit this up at the top. So right now, this is all what comes naturally. Now, let's say, considering we go with the puppy analogy, we have dog parents, as I call them, parents,
Mm.
and there's a new dog food store or dog store opening up in the area. Let's create a tab so that whenever I want store visitors, I just want the dog ones, the dog lovers, and also the dog parents. So whenever I want to send information out about it, I click on this and I'm going to have a tab here where I have all the people that are under that contact type. And the funny thing is one of these contacts here, because I use fake contacts, none of them are really real, except for Gracie H, which is Heather's dog, one of her two dogs. Her little doggy, her golden doodle is Gracie. So let's say I want to have a email sent to all of these people. I have them there. I select them all, and then I can send a group email. It's as simple as that. And let's say I don't need this anymore. I just click on it and drag it, and this tab will go away, but my contacts will not. They are still there. As you can see, I'm gonna find Gracie. There you go. She's still there. So that's one of those really nice little quality of life features that I like to say. You can move these around. Let's say new is going to be one of the ones you always want to have, but you don't need your all at the front. You can move it to the back. You may want your future is not as important. Your new and engaged and active are the ones you're most concentrating on. So as you can see, I can move them around with ease. I'm probably going super fast, aren't I, Jordan?
No, I mean, granted, I'm a bit biased, but I feel like you're going at a good speed. Let us know if this is too fast. Again, this will be on YouTube too, so you can like stop, rewind, and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely. You can stop, rewind, and enjoy Jordan and I having fun with the English language every now and then.
Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. But if you ever want to put it back to normal, you just come up to this cogwheel, click on it, and reset tabs to defaults. Go ahead and reset, and this is what it probably looks like in most people's, unless you've already edited it.
Mhm.
Let's see. Follow-up types. We're going to mention this one really quickly. Follow-up coach is one of those tools that is super beneficial to everything you do. You may get into a situation where you don't remember who is the best person to follow up with right now. So this tool every day will give you 5 people. You can come in here and I'm going to tell you, don't ever hit the skip button because if you do that, it looks like you've done something, but it just moves them to the back of the list. But you can go to somebody here, you can go follow up, And we're going to say, let's say I ran into this person the other day and they're thinking of moving again. So we're going to mark it done. We are going to say, set up an appointment to show their home. And then I'm going to create an appointment a week from today. And there we go. Just as easily, I've put a note. They're no longer somebody that I need to contact because I haven't in a while. And right here, you're going to see I have that follow-up set for next week. Completed. There we go. If you do this every day, or let's say if you work 300 days of the year and you do this, you would hit 1,500 people over 300 days. Our account here, we would be able to hit pretty much everybody in the account 3 times in 1 year. Anything to add to that, Jordan?
Yeah, so I would also add that you can refresh the list. So you could do more than 5 a day if you wish. I know a lot of folks like to be able to access their CRM on their cell phone. So that way when they're waiting for coffee or they're watching Netflix, they can kind of just be swiping through like a video game. But they're really they're keeping on top of their business, not only keeping in front of the clientele, but like doing that, addressing that pain point of you've done business, but you haven't really talked to them since. This will help address that, as well as it keeps your database up to date. So that way your network is your net worth. If you have any questions about how to add or how to like access your CRM on your phone, I'll put a little, yeah. So I put a link there from our support site. So that way it does have like a little video demo because that can be really helpful to have in the palm of your hand.
And I'm going to copy this and put it to everyone because you put it to hosts and panelists
Oh,
only.
sorry. There we go. Oh, yeah.
This is why they have me around. I'm tech support.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's all I had to add.
Okay, cool. So let's see. Social Connect. So we'll really mention this one really quick. Social Connect is a new way to get new inquiries. So we have a program called Social Connect where it takes advantage of the fact that most people today spend a lot of their time doing social scrolling. These things are attached to us 24/7. I don't like that, but I'm old school. So why not hit the people that are social scrolling? We will make expertly crafted ads for you with an autofill form that goes up on both Facebook and Instagram. So if anybody is searching anything related to real estate, be it buy, sell, rent, land, we are going to show up on their feed with an ad for you. Once they click on that ad, their information will be auto-populated and it will send to you, and we will start what we call an auto response plan. It'll start sending emails and text messages and a market snapshot to them. We'll follow up with them over 4 months. And that is, like I say, how you turn from an inquiry into a lead because they are already being engaged. And you can just do a quick phone call or a couple of text messages and turn them into a client that you help sell or buy a home. It's as simple as that. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to our sales team. They would be more than happy to sell it to you. It's a 6-month subscription. We do, on our base plan, we do guarantee you'll get at least 180 new contacts in your database. We do not guarantee they're going to be perfect leads or guaranteed sales or buyers. They are going to be people. You are going to have to do a little bit of the legwork, but it's a game of numbers nowadays. The more you get, the better chance you have of getting something there. But we will take care of you. And if you don't get 180 people in the 6 months, we'll look after you. And that is a guarantee. Any
Perfect.
follow up on that?
No, I think you did great, Glenn. Good, but A plus.
Parroting my own words back at me. Yeah, you do learn well and quickly. So as Jordan said, and the link that I did tech support to put to everybody, not just her and I, you can put Top Producer in your pocket because we are mobile friendly. All you have to do is go to crm.topproducer.com on your browser of choice. This is a screenshot from Heather's mobile phone. So she's on an Android using Chrome or any of the browsers. You'd look for these 3 dots up in the corner and you just click on it and there's a button that says add to home screen. This will allow you to now have what will look like a pseudo app on your phone. That way you can access CRM anytime, anywhere. On an Apple device, it will be a little icon down here in the bottom. It will look like a box with an arrow pointing up. You click on that and then just add to home screen. And that's the end of our slide deck. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think the word plop was the main takeaway. So if there's
Yes.
anything you folks learned today, but also just know that I know it can be a lot of new information. So no worries if it's a little bit of a learning curve. We have resources, like another plugin for the live chat. But yeah, just practice and you'll kind of get into the routine of things because it does become a real routine once you use it, and then you know it like the back of your hand.
Exactly. Using your CRM is just muscle memory. Brain
Mhm.
is just another muscle that we have to work on every day. And apparently, with how often I screw up the English language, I need to work on it a little bit more. Hey, no problem. It is our pleasure to help you out, and we appreciate everybody that came by. Again, if you do have questions, go to our plopping this in again, our live chat to talk to those people. They are a fun group of techs, and they'd love to hear from you. If you want to email us again, support@topproducer.com. And we do have the support.topproducer.com website. A couple other things. Oh, send email. Okay, so Charlene, when you send an email out of Top Producer, you'll find it on the contact record. And I'm just going to grab a real quick contact here. You're going to see a tab right here that says emails. I don't think I've tried to send anything to this fake account, but you'll see it here. You'll see the sent and you'll see the receive. You're also going to see the sent emails in your email provider's outbox. I hope that helps. And I know Jordan has actually got a meeting to go to, so I should let her go. So thank you for joining us today and being part of our presentation, Jordan. It's always a pleasure to have you co-host with me.
Yeah, thank you for letting me join, and thank you to everyone who took the time to join our session today. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So I will look at this, jump back to this. Again, we do have our blog at topproducer.com/blog. This is where we put new information about the software up. And we also do like to give great information about things we hear about in the real estate world. So it's not just Top Producer, it will give you info about your everyday life as well. YouTube, where this video will be uploaded to later, youtube.com/topproducersoftware. And finally, our Facebook user group at facebook.com/group/topproducersoftware. Okay, reassign lead back to your broker. So let me see that. If you have a team, when you go to a contact, you're going to have the option to edit contact. Down at the bottom, you should have the ability to assign to. Now, because I haven't created any extra contacts to this account, you'll just see that it goes to this one. As long as you're able to reassign it back to the broker or they have it so you can reassign contacts, you would do it through here. There would be a drop down of to who you can assign it to, and then you just save the contact. So again, I'll do that a little bit slower. You would go to random contact, edit, scroll all the way to the bottom, select the person from the drop down, then save contact. And that should get it back to your broker. I hope that helps. That's just a reminder that I need to add a couple of fake accounts to this one so I can showcase things like that. Cool. That's one of the main reasons why we do this webinar every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. That way you can get the questions you need asked in real time. And hopefully myself, Heather, and Jordan, we entertain you at least a little bit, considering we all flub up and are human. So I hope you at least enjoyed it. Thank you, Charlene. That was a very great compliment. I will say, as always, all names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. No identification with actual persons, living or deceased places, and buildings intended or should be inferred. I have to put that on for the YouTube algorithm, so hopefully they don't think we're saying things about real people. That is the greatest compliment. I'll make sure that I tell Jordan that you're enjoying and giggling on it throughout the presentation. It is a lot of dry information. We know we're giving you a big bit of a info download and dump, or plopping info into your brain, as Jordan would say. So we would like to try to make it a little bit fun. So I'm glad we succeeded. That's the main goal. So with that, I will get you all back to your regular day, your regular work life. Have fun with your contacts. Hopefully your leads are working out. Hopefully you're all busy, busy bees. And it's a great time to just help people sell. And I know here in Canada, we just had another drop on the interest rate. So yay! My life just got a little less expensive. With that, it's a wrap. Thanks again for coming by, everybody. Look forward to seeing you again, and reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you for showing up, and thank you. I appreciate you saying you enjoyed it. Uh, Vilia, I hope I didn't just absolutely butcher saying your name. If I did, I do apologize, but thank you for coming. Everybody take care, be safe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.